Maybe you've never done drugs. You can't imagine why someone would do them. You think anyone who does drugs or drinks excessively is weak and stupid. You're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. But consider what I'm about to say. Before you think of yourself as someone who can't relate to an addict, I want you to realize something. Nearly everyone does drugs in modern America. Also, drugs aren't all necessarily bad. Get the drugs are bad out of your head. Drugs ultimately are just chemicals, and we all use chemicals, just like we eat food or drink water. Don't believe me? Well, here are some things that are drugs that many of us use regularly. These are things that you take to make you feel a certain way, and there is pretty much no nutritional value for them. Caffeine. Ever drink coffee? Soda? Energy drinks? Nicotine. Cigarettes, chewing tobacco, nicotine packs. Advil or Tylenol. Aspirin for your heart. Wine, beer, champagne. Liquor, cocktails. Common over-the-counter medications such as Pepto-Bismol, Alka-Seltzer, cough syrup, etc. Allergy medicine or nose spray. CBD oil or gummies, even medicinally. THC from marijuana. Prescription medications, ranging from painkillers to blood pressure medications to antidepressants and more. You've probably used something on the above list, right? Well, helpful or not, those are all drugs. Wait, why are prescription medications on this list? Are you saying those are drugs too? Absolutely. Just because they come from a prescription bottle or in a box from a store doesn't mean they aren't drugs. Medications and drugs are ultimately the same thing. They are chemicals we take to alter our body in some way. You may be thinking, but wait, just because I take these things, that doesn't mean I take drugs. I'm talking about cocaine, heroin, etc., and certainly don't take those. Fair enough. So you take drugs that are legal and more socially acceptable. That's fine, but they are still drugs. Don't fool yourself. You also may be thinking, and addicts abuse those things. I take them responsibly. If I have a headache, I take 2 Advil, not 20, because I'm in control. That may be the case as well, but are you saying that you've never drank too much champagne and gotten tipsy? Or really needed a boost, so drank another espresso or an energy drink? Maybe you're Amish, or a strict Mormon, or something, and really haven't. And if that's true, that's great. You are in more control than most of us. You will probably live longer than us, and will be healthier than us. But you are very rare these days. Like 1 out of a million rare. The rest of us have probably used and abused some of the above on this list. Hell, I'll admit it. I judge how much coffee I'm going to drink in the morning by how much I need it to get up and moving. Did I wake up feeling great? 1 cup of coffee. I'm dragging ass and my mind is foggy? Add 2 shots of espresso to that coffee, please, and I'll probably see you again in a couple of hours. I'm purposefully using this substance to alter my reality. Now, I'm not drinking 30 cups, but I'm using caffeine how I want, even though I know it's probably not the best for me. When I have a bad headache, I don't take 2 Advil, I take 5. Why? Because I'm a big guy and I want it to work now. When I've been sick as a dog, I'll also admit that I've drank more than the recommended dose of NyQuil, because I purposefully wanted to knock out my symptoms long enough, so I wasn't up coughing all night. But if I'm not sick, I don't take NyQuil. So I do have control, but I use it as I see fit when I need to. I try not to take things if I don't need to. Also, I wish I was more knowledgeable in natural remedies, so that instead of reaching for an Advil, I took a more natural supplement such as white willow bark pills instead. It's probably healthier for me. But I'm not perfect, nor am I a purist. I'm okay with taking over-the-counter medications if I need to. It's usually pretty rare, but if I have important things to do, then I may make the decision to take it. If I need that headache gone ASAP, it's worth it to me. But I also don't take 20 Advil either, nor do I take it if I don't have a headache or pain. I just use it if I need it and not if I don't. I am not addicted to it. I have control over it, like many of us do when taking a pain reliever. I bring this up because we, adults in America, typically take chemicals of some kind or another, sometimes even a bit more than we should. The difference between us and someone who is addicted is that they can't stop themselves from doing more and more. Further, Let's not fool ourselves. We are being sold drugs, and let's not forget alcohol, 24/7 through advertisements. So before you judge someone who uses the bad drugs and can't possibly think of yourself in that position, think of this for a moment. How is your relationship with food? Are you always eating the right portions? Is your food always nutritious and healthy? Do you ever say screw it and eat half a pizza or ice cream when you know it isn't good for you? Of course you do. We all do. Well, at least most of us do. You want to live a little because the thought of eating a perfect meal every time is probably boring. Sure, your body feels great, but sometimes you just want a boost of that brain chemical serotonin that accompanies moments of pleasure and indulgence. If you are completely disciplined and have never put anything in your body that isn't perfectly healthy, you are either a professional athlete like Tom Brady or just have incredible discipline like Navy SEAL Jocko Willink. The rest of us secretly hate you a little bit for that because we are just jealous of your willpower. Why am I bringing up food? Well, I'm trying to paint the picture of what it's like to be addicted by using something you are familiar with, so that you don't consider yourself so different from people addicted to drugs. Let's say you're at work and you're really hungry and you know that a brownie will taste good. You know it will give you a quick boost, and then you'll crash for a while from your blood sugar spiking and crashing. But you eat that brownie anyway. Actually, you eat 2 of them. What did you just do? You ate something you knew was bad for you. On top of that, you even knew it would have a bad effect on you in about 10 to 30 minutes. And damn it, you told yourself you weren't going to eat brownies anymore after the last time. But they were so delicious that you did it anyway, knowing the consequences. For a brief moment, your problems went away and you were simply enjoying the shit out of those brownies. Well, that's kind of what it's like to be addicted to opiates, except multiply that pleasure by 1,000 and the adverse effects by 1,000. Imagine wanting to eat those brownies so badly that you couldn't concentrate on anything else. Your body was physically craving them, and the thought of not having them made you sick to your stomach. Your mind was screaming at you to eat them, and you were laser focused only on that. If you tried to think of anything else, your mind immediately returned to the brownies. Your brain would come up with a million reasons why eating the brownies was an excellent idea, and rationalize any decision you could come up with that would result in you eating them, even if it made no sense at all. If you had to buy the brownies and had no money, you would have no problem coming up with a list of people you could try to borrow money from, even if you had no way to pay them back. The brownies would be so important to you that you'd even risk stealing money from someone you love, or even a stranger by robbing them. If that wasn't an option, perhaps you could entice the brownie owner to give them to you if you offered them sex. Although you wouldn't want to do this, and at one time you would never have considered you'd do that, your mind is convincing you, like the Emperor in Star Wars, that it's no big deal, and it is the fastest and easiest way to get those delicious brownies inside of you. Your morals are now completely out the window because your mind is screaming at you to get those brownies in you as fast as humanly possible, and you will come up with any number of elaborate stories or schemes to convince anyone to help you get them. Maybe you could live with the brownie baker, and then you'd have access to brownies all the time. I wonder if he'd go for that. You can just lie to your parents and tell them you live elsewhere. Maybe you could learn to bake brownies yourself. It doesn't matter, as long as you're close to brownies 24/7. Hopefully you get the point. If you have never been addicted, maybe you can wrap your mind just a bit around this example, while knowing that the truth is much, much worse. The whole reason I bring this up is so you can try to understand people who are addicted. They didn't intend for it to happen to them. They thought they were doing something that was maybe a little bit bad, like taking 5 Advil, but for the most part harmless. The substance then took control of them, and they started doing and saying things that aren't them. It's just the mind trying to do anything possible to get more of the substance. The chemicals took over, and their self-respect went out the window, while their mind rationalized how to get more and more.